Hey guys, it's Jamin here, back with another Fallout video. I haven't done that in a very long time. And in today's video, I want to talk about my experience with Fallout 76. Now, in the past, I've made multiple videos talking about Fallout 76. I hate the business practices of Bethesda. I am very angry at Bethesda, and you can take me for my word because Bethesda has actually created one of my favorite games of all time, Fallout 3, which I will admit has flaws, but nowhere near to the degree of what has been happening recently. Anti-consumer practices, not allowing refunds. You can look it up online, all the issues with Fallout 76. It's one of the biggest gaming disasters for a game in the history of gaming in general. And I'm really glad that Bethesda gets to hold that reward because they genuinely deserve it. They have been forgiven too many times for many anti-consumer practices, and people are realizing that they have pretty much been this way for a long time, and we're starting to actually notice these things and all the stuff they do behind the scenes. So in this video, I actually wanted to play the game because there was a recent update for the game called Wastelanders that adds human NPCs, which should have been there from the start, and they didn't add it. They added Battle Royale next, and then they added this. I don't know, when was it, like 2018 this was released? It's been a really long time since the game has launched, and it's just pathetic that we're just now getting this stuff. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try out the game and see what exactly this is. And I mainly wanted to try it out because I like exploring in games, and I thought, this is a pretty big map, seems like there's a lot of locations, I might as well explore. I'm not going to do any of the crap that I already know is going to be bad. I just want to try out exploring. And I didn't buy the game as protest because, why would you criticize a game and then buy it? Like, I get it for reviewers, but I'm not a reviewer, so why would I buy the game? It doesn't make sense. So I didn't buy the game this time. I won't tell you how I got it, but I didn't buy the game, and I played about 2 hours of the game, and you're seeing gameplay of me right now. So basically, the only thing I really wanted to do in the gameplay was to kind of just, see what the game was and stuff. And my main goal was to get to, I think it's called Foundation. It's a settlement. I think it's like probably the most popular human settlement in 76 from what I've seen. I didn't explore all of them. That might even be the only fucking human settlement in the game. I saw a few human NPCs, but they're just kind of like traders, have nothing to say. And that was my main goal, so I ventured across the map, died a few times because for some reason you just freeze up when you get hit by anything, and you just completely stop walking for some reason. Like, I got there, I talked to a few people. I thought the settlement looked kind of cool. It had a kind of cool, like, logs and stuff around. It was kind of interesting idea for a settlement. I don't know, like, there wasn't, I tried to talk to a few people to see if there was a quest line, and I think there is a quest line, but I didn't end up getting to it, and honestly I wasn't that interested. And the game, from everything I played for about 2 hours, and I played after I discovered the settlement. It is one of the most boring professional game I have ever played in my life. I think it is the most boring professional made game I have ever played in my life. And I'm not exaggerating, because this is after human NPCs, and I think super mutants weren't even in the game before this. I'm not sure if vertibirds were in the game before, but there was vertibirds around. Just stuff that makes the world feel more alive in this new update. I can't imagine how boring the game was before this update. I can't. I literally can't, because I played for 2 hours, and my only goal was, because I wasn't going to play around with junk and try to update stuff, because it's a loot and shoot, it's a cycle. It's a really boring cycle that just tries to get you to buy stuff from the microtransaction shop. So I was not going to do that. I was not going to get into this stupid cycle. I genuinely felt like I was wasting my time playing this game, which is really weird, because like sometimes, like you'll play a game and you'll be like, maybe I should be doing other things, but this one was especially that way, where, I thought I should be doing anything else other than playing this game. And I'm really not exaggerating anything of what I'm saying. I will say I didn't encounter too many bugs when I played the game, but frame rate was awful. Anytime you go anywhere that has more than just ground and tree assets, the frame rate just drops immediately, and it's really, really bad. I don't understand how you go from Fallout 4 and having, a giant city where the frame rate is pretty bad, but you'd think, the cities and stuff in this game aren't that big, and the frame rate's like about the same. It doesn't make any sense. I don't really know what to say else. You can go around and talk to, look at other videos that highlight all the problems with this game. I'm not even going to talk about them because I wasn't even planning on playing the whole game. It's kind of just obvious what the problems are. This Wastelanders update did not save the game at all. It didn't really help the game. People have said it's not really doing anything, especially since it's like 2 years late. Like, this should have been in the base game. I think if this was in the base game, 76 might have been savable, but I don't think it is. Now, I want to talk about something else because, yes, the game is really boring or whatever. It's just not fun. Literally just had no idea what to do. It kept giving me quests that I just literally did not care about. Had no substance to anything in the game at all. And, they clearly tried a little bit with this Wastelanders thing, but literally it's a boring game. But the thing I want to highlight is Bethesda's world building. Now, I don't know if Bethesda Maryland made the world in this game, if they designed the map. Whoever designed the just the overall general idea of this game doesn't understand Fallout at all. And I know that's kind of makes, yeah, of course they don't. It's Fallout 76. Fallout 76 is barely a Fallout game at all, but I want to highlight specifically why. First of all, this is kind of obvious. Your map is rainbow. It looks like, it doesn't look like bombs dropped. It looks like a really weird elemental world where West Virginia somehow has all these attractions and like a bunch of people live there to the point where you're gonna find ghouls everywhere, even though it doesn't make sense why there are ghouls everywhere because there's not much radiation in West Virginia. And like, there's so many different locations and attractions that just kind of don't make sense. Like, why is there so much, I guess, like, quote-unquote interesting things, like giant drillings and just like fucking lava mountains and shit? Like, why? Like, it doesn't make sense to have it. Everything is so compacted together. It's like, is the whole earth just like packed with these weird interesting in quotation marks, like unique locations? It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit. It's like the whole world is just kind of like imagined. It's not really based off of West Virginia in real life. Everything, it's like West Virginia is the center of the earth, and like there's so many weird shit everywhere. Like, why is there so many different attractions and places? Like, it's West Virginia. It's a really rural area. There's not going to be all these weird things everywhere. I just don't understand, especially in the future. Like, it's not like everybody's gonna move to West Virginia and, when the bombs drop, you magically turn into a ghoul and now you're just all over the highways. I just don't understand how that's even possible. But that's the obvious point, is that West Virginia and just having colorful ash trees and shit and having it not placed somewhere that's close to where bombs hit is kind of the downfall, and like the obvious downfall of the game, because it doesn't feel like a Fallout game, because it's just so, even if it made sense, I guess it does make sense for so many trees because the bombs didn't drop directly in the map, but it doesn't make sense to put a Fallout game where that is, because Fallout is highlighting the destruction of bombs, not the non-destruction of bombs. It's kind of just doesn't make sense to put a map in West Virginia. It would have been cooler to put a map in, like, I don't know, Chicago or something cool with like a city. And I guess city wouldn't work because their engine can't handle fucking assets everywhere, and their frame rate goes crazy because they just don't know how to manage memory. The other thing that is an issue is that they don't understand the style of Fallout, and not just like the colors or whatever, but Fallout is not futuristic retro. That is not the style of Fallout. And ever since Fallout 4, Bethesda thinks that that is what the art style of Fallout is. Fallout is not just generic retro futuristic looking stuff. It's not that. When you look at Fallout like Fallout 3, New Vegas, and Fallout 1 and 2, the architecture is not generic retro looking. It's not at all. It has its own feeling. And the description I give it is gothic retro horror architecture. You know, the architecture is really, you know, it's not overly futuristic where it just looks unreal, but it's futuristic to where it kind of looks scary. Everything's concrete, everything's dark and gritty. Like Fallout is supposed to be dark and gritty, and it's not supposed to look beautiful. You're not supposed to see rainbow trees everywhere. But Bethesda thinks that Fallout takes place in the 50s, but it doesn't. It takes place many years in the future with a retro style, but they completely don't understand what the style is. They just think, they have like, you know, 50s looking stuff. Okay, it must be just the 50s retro, and that's it. But it's not that. It's so much more layered and more unique than just 50 architecture and just circles and curves everywhere. And that's really what you see out of this game. It's just circles and curves. When, you know, Fallout has always been sharp edges and really gritty, dark architecture and just everything in general. You know, all the guns and stuff in the new Fallout games are just circular and smooth, and they look brown and ugly. But in the original Fallouts, they're dark and steel and really have a lot of edges. And a lot of buildings in like Fallout 3, for example, have spikes on them. In this game, it's just everything is curved, and the paint is still there, and it's really vibrant for no reason. That's not what Fallout is. So Bethesda completely misunderstands what Fallout is. They completely misunderstand what the art style is, which is what I'm highlighting specifically in this, because I went into the 76 just to explore and see what was happening. Clearly they still don't understand. Everything is just 50s retro. It's not Fallout retro, it's just 50s retro. It's not a gritty gothic retro like the old games had. They just completely forgot, and I just don't understand that, because Fallout 3 got that gritty architecture perfectly. But how do they just forget about that? I don't understand how they just go from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 and just completely forget about all that world building and how the world is supposed to look. It's supposed to look dead, and they just completely miss the mark every time. And this isn't the only problem. I mean, this is not even the worst problem. The gameplay, everything sucks about this game. I mean, you can go around and look at all the other YouTube videos about the game. You know, Internet Historian made a video about all the, you know, business and marketing fuck-ups of this game. It completely highlights everything. I just want to highlight stuff people don't really talk about, and that's just why the map doesn't work. You know, not only is it boring, but it just doesn't feel like Fallout. It's this sunny, weird looking retro. Everything is somehow important on the map. There's golf courses that are just super green. It doesn't look like a Fallout game. And that's really what I want to highlight in this video, that Bethesda really doesn't understand Fallout at all, but they specifically don't understand the Fallout art style at all.